So let us now discuss about these Lorentz transformation equations and its consequences. So what consequences are we doing? Basically this is consequences of Lorentz transformation equations. Okay. So now let us consider two coordinate system of axis. Okay. Then frame S is designated and the position of any point is described by x, y, z, t, and your S prime will be designated by x prime, y prime, z prime and t dash. Okay. So now what are we doing? Suppose at time t is equal to 0, both the frames are at 0, 0, 0. After t seconds, what is happening? It is moving by an amount equal to x is equal to ct. With respect to S prime frame, the distance is x prime is equal to ct dash. Distance is measured in S and S frames. Okay? Distance is measured in S frame. This is what we discussed. And these are all the equations. I am just giving you a recap of what we have done. And we have arrived at an expression for k like this. And we have written x dash is equal to x minus vt by c square and t dash is equal to this. So, these are the inverse transformation equations. So therefore, now based on this, let us see how the length contraction as a consequence that we should be studying. Suppose you want to measure the length of this rod, which is equal to x1 minus x2 in S frame, and it is equal to x1 dash minus x2 dash in S prime frame. So this is the length that you are measuring. Okay. So S, it won't be same if you are in a craft, moving aircraft, it looks as though it is shorted. Okay. But if you are in a on board, you can see the entire length. You will be able to visualize the entire length. So how do you do this? So the actual length is the length which is measured when you are in motion. That is when it is carried out by an observer who is in motion. And the length as observed by S prime will be related to this. Let us see how it is done. So the actual length is L naught. L is what is measured from the stationary frame of reference. So x2 dash is given by x2 minus vt by this. x1 dash is given by this. So using this relation, x2 prime minus x1 prime will be given by x2 minus x1 by root this, which is equal to L by root of 1 minus v square by c square. L is given by L naught into this, and since v is very much less than c, v by c square is further less than 1 and it is getting subtracted. So we can conclude from here that L is very much less than L naught. So with respect to an observer in S frame, a moving body with a velocity v, it appears to have been shortened. It only appears. So in its length. So since we are considering the motion only along the x direction, there is no change along y and z directions. So what is the consequence? The length of the rod appears to be shortened by a factor which is given by root of 1 minus v square by c square. Another important thing that we talk about is time dilation. So it is taking a longer time and it appears as though there is a loss of time. So generally we give twin paradox. I have shown you the videos also in the last class. So twin paradox is something which is related to the time dilation. So let us consider relative velocity between the two observers. So basically what is important here is positioning time. This is a place where the event is taking place. This is the time of occurrence of the event. So in an S frame, suppose flashing of the light is what you are taking, it is happening at two different times. Switch on the light and actual light glowing, but at the same position is same. So the time taken for the event to occur is given by t naught. This is actual time, the time difference which is measured with the clock or observer who are moving. So from a frame which is at rest, it is t2 minus t1. And again applying the Lorentz transformation equations, inverse transformation equations, you can write t1 like this and t2 like this. These are the inverse transformation equations that we are applying. And t is equal to t2 minus t1. So use these relations. What you get is this. Now again, since v by c is very much less than 1, because c is the velocity of light. This is the highest. So v by c therefore will be less than 1. This is further less than 1. So it appears as though t is greater than t naught. T is what? For an event to, for an observer in S frame to see the event. It is not the time that is reduced, it is the duration of the time. What is important here is, please make a note, it is duration which is more. That is the difference between the two events, that is more. So some two examples we have given with the period, some two, or maybe you can take 2020 and 2030. This is the start of the event. This is end of the event. The period is 10 years. But this 10 years appears longer for a stationary person. So if you have a twin who is staying with the grandfather, he looks older than the person, than the other twin who is moving in a spaceship along with father. So if you want to stay young, travel to stay young is what we say. If you travel, you will stay young. This is the slogan that is given by this relativity. So consequences are these two. That means the time interval between these two appears to be reduced. So this is what we will be talking. These are the two important consequences of your length